Chapter 6, Lesson 5. How is multiplying and dividing decimals similar to multiplying and dividing whole numbers? We're on page 403. Example 1. Nina is buying peanuts in bulk. The peanuts cost 75 cents for each pound. She purchased 2.1 pounds of peanuts. How much will Nina pay? Round to the nearest cent. So you need to think about where is the nearest cent? That would be the hundredths place. Okay, but that's for the after part here. So we're estimating we're going to round our 75 cents to a dollar and our 2.1 to 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. Now we multiply with whole numbers. Okay, so we do our normal standard algorithm here. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 0 is 0. That's why they didn't put a box there. And then we will put our placeholder 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Regroup. 2 times 7 is 14. Plus 1 is 15. Regroup. And 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. Now we will add the numbers up. So when they say round to the nearest cent, we have to do the hundredths place. Because we have our tenths place and our hundredths place, and our cents would be here when we're looking at money. So we're rounding the 7, we're using the 5 as the helper. The 5 will bump it up, so we'll copy everything in front, and we'll change our 7 to an 8. So by rounding to the nearest cent, we have $1.58 because this half cent does not exist in our money. So Nina will need to pay $1.58. $1.58 is about equal to $2. Let's head on to page 404. Example 2. DeMarcus is buying a new guitar pick that costs 50 cents. The sales tax is found by multiplying the cost of the guitar pick by 6 cents. What is the cost of the sales tax for the pick? First, we'll estimate. We'll round our 50 cents to a dollar and our 6 cents down to 0 because it's almost at 0. Then we'll multiply as normal. 0 times 6 is 0. 6 times 5 is 30. Regroup. 6 times 0 is 0. Plus 3 is 3. If we were to do the other work, we have all zeros here. So we would have a placeholder 0, and then this 0 times 3 numbers. Okay, and then so that's for that second 0. And then for this third 0, we would have 2 placeholder zeros, and again, times 3 zeros would all be zeros. So they just kind of shortcut some of that because knowing that it's all zeros isn't going to change that too often. So as always, we start from the outside with our decimal, and then we have to count. There are 2 digits behind the decimal here and 2 digits behind the decimal here. So we have 4 moves. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we place our decimal and we place in and annex some zeros. So our answer becomes 0.03 because again, we're going to round to the nearest cent, which is the hundredths, besides the fact there are zeros behind it, so that would not change the value of the 3. So the sales tax is 3 cents to the 50 cents. So if you would add them together, she would pay 53 cents per pick, or he would pay 53 cents per pick. So the product of 0 is close to the 0.03, 3 cents, is close to the estimate of 0. Let's take a look at the guided practice. Let's multiply 0.6 times 0.8, or 6 tenths times 8 tenths. 6 times 8, that's right, 48, regroup. 8 times 0, 0, plus 4, 4. Placeholder 0, and then 0 times anything is going to be more zeros, so essentially we have 48, and then we count there are 2 numbers behind the decimal, so we place. So I'm going to label my work here. Block it off a little bit there. I'll do number 2, 1 and 7 tenths times 2 and 4 tenths. 7 times 4 is 28. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Placeholder 0. 2 times 7 is 14, regroup. And 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Oops, sorry. I do not know why I never do that, but I did today. So 8 and 0 is 8, and then we have 10, so we regroup. Then we count how many digits are behind a decimal. There are 2, so we'll move it 2 in, place our decimal for an 800th. You always box it off after you've done your work because you never know how much space you might need. 3 and 8 tenths times 9 tenths. 8 times 9, you can always use your 9s trick, 72. 3 times 9, 27, plus 7, 35. Placeholder 0. And the next number is all zeros, so we'll put in some zeros there. We end up with 352. We count the digits behind the decimal, move it in, place it, and our answer is 3 and 52. Now, hopefully you're thinking a little bit of number sense as well, and you're saying, wait a second, if I have 60 and 80, how is it less? If I have 3.8 and 9 tenths, how is it less than the 3.8? But anytime you're multiplying by less than a whole, then you are going to get a smaller number than some of the bigger numbers that you are using because you're multiplying by less than a whole. So we know that 1 times any number is that number, but if we're doing less than 1, then it should be smaller. So make sure you're using some of that number sense. These are both bigger than 1, therefore that number is larger and should make sense. Have an awesome day.